Well, I have three properties that I've been talks with. Let me tell you a little bit what I've been doing. Since like the beginning of February, the beginning of December, I've been strictly doing probates. So I get like an average of 35 leads a day, skip trace, and then text all the numbers associated with that lead. So it's like I send out like 80 texts a day average, and I've
Okay.
been doing that every day since the beginning of December, and it's working pretty good. So I have three deals. I have one deal I wanted to ask you about where the house is like a smaller house, probably 1,000 square feet, and it's in horrible condition, needs a complete rehab, probably like 50,000 rehab. But they have tenants in there who've been there for 7 years. They pay every month on time, and they do not have a lease, and they know the tenant. And it's a wife, a husband, and a special needs child. And I'm
Uh,
wondering what you think about that from like a cash buyer's perspective.
um,
Does it matter? Like
okay,
tenants?
so you hit me with a lot there. So this
Yeah.
particular property you're talking about, does it need massive rehab?
Yeah, it needs a probably about 50,000. The roof is good, but that's an 8-year-old roof, so that's probably okay. I looked at it, seems fine, but everything else pretty bad.
Did the tenants just run it to the ground?
Yep, that's
Okay,
what the
so
owner
like
said.
here's well, the owner's got to take responsibility. It's the owner's fault. Just be brutally honest. Like it's the truth. Owners who let tenants run properties to the ground like that, it's their fault. It's not the tenant's fault because you put a bad tenant in there and you didn't follow up and manage them. This
Yeah,
is the number one type of deal I buy. End of story. And I'm not here to make the owner feel bad. Like
right.
you can't. Like they're your customer. But the reality is the owner got complacent. The cash was rolling in. It was easy. Somebody told them, probably some guru told them, just rent it out. It's easy money. It's just going to come in every month like automatic. It's what we call passive income. And guess what? You go out to look at the property. Tenant's like, one day I can't flush the toilet. And he's like, oh my God, look at this property. Dude, I've done this myself. And now he or she's a tired landlord. And now they want you to solve their problem. Now,
Well, it was a probate. It was their mother, the property, and
so
she
was the
passed
mother the
away in
landlord?
October. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is where you're at. So how much are the tenants paying?
800 a month, every month on time, 7 years.
So the only like kicker
There's
here,
no mortgage property.
yeah. So here's the kicker here. Here's the only thing I'm sensitive to. I don't want to kick a special needs child out on the street, so to speak.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
should a special needs child be living in such a horrible, dilapidated rental property? So to me, it's kind of like they're offsetting arguments. I've walked, guys, like I can't tell you how many deals I walk away just because it's the right thing to do. I've had people. I had a guy who adapted the entire house on a probate for his wife for a wheelchair, and she's been in the house for 30 years. He said she never really left. And when we got down to it, he's like, "I need the money," but I'm just like, but what are we gonna do with her? Like, what's the plan? He goes, I don't have one. I'm just gonna get the money.
Yeah.
I think he was gonna like leave her, and I'm just like, I can't be a party to this. Like, I get it. I can't solve everyone's problem, but man, I am not gonna lose sleep at night.
Yeah.
I've had some people who are like, "Hey, you can buy this house, but you gotta evict this 92-year-old lady." Like, what did she do? He's like, "Nothing. I don't want to deal with it anymore."
Well, so
And
from a cash buyer's perspective, do you think that they would evict or would they keep it going?
you can't keep those tenants there because they've ran it to the ground. Like
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
you got like there's no way. So I would probably I would get the low. You got to get it way like you got to get it cheap.
I offered him 49 and a half, and he
What did he
said
say?
no, the lowest he could do is 70. And I think the resale, like total rehab and sale value is probably like 160, 70, maybe 160,
Yeah,
one seventy. So I offered him 49 and a half. He was like, no. I was like, all right, well, let me call you in
yeah.
2 weeks, see what happens.
So here's
He
what
was
I
like,
would
all
do
right.
is I would probably just put it under contract and then I would put it under like a 30-day inspection period.
Yeah, that's
And
what I told him. Yep.
so what state are you in?
Well, I'm focusing on DC pretty much, but this is Maryland, this particular place.
So you just got to get familiar with like your probate laws there if they can sell it before the probate's completed, which they should be able
Yep.
to.
Yeah, they can.
And just keep selling it on that. And then what you need to do is I would put it under contract and
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
would
trying.
I would bring a cash buyer there and like everyone's gonna like they're gonna freak out. And then I think you're gonna be able to easily negotiate the price down. And you might
Yeah,
have to get like a GC to go in there and go, listen, can you just write me up what the cost fix this thing is? And when he gives you the number, because there's a lot of stuff you're not even seeing. Because the problem is tenants like this, the tenants and the landlord didn't take care of the property. And now that the landlord's passed away, really challenging. So you're gonna have plumbing, you're gonna have electrical, you're gonna have roof, you're gonna have AC, you're gonna have heating elements. It's like I think 50 is gonna be light in my brutal honesty. Like everything's so expensive now. So what
yeah.
used to
It's
be
just a
ten thousand
small
dollar house,
house.
yeah, but
That's,
it's an entire like it might be closer to 80. I'm just preparing you, but to
hey,
get
you're
it
not
to
wrong.
retail. So I would go and put it under contract, and then I would size up what's going on with a special needs child. The problem is like I don't have a special needs child, and I have a soft spot for anyone who does, and I just you don't want to. The kid's been there 7 years, but like it's not not a good environment. So I don't
Yeah.
feel bad about. I think you just got to give them time, and because you have a probate, you can take advantage of the time. Number two, you got, to me, tenants that are not good. I'm sorry, they don't take care of the property, but maybe the landlord let it in such horrid conditions. They're like, hey, I just want to get by.
Yeah.
And number three, you can kind of utilize the probate to bring your cash buyers in there to see what kind of price you can get, and then you can decide if you need to get a discount from there. Remember, you're trying to solve a huge problem for this seller. You have a probate, you have a horrendous property, you got a tenant that, I don't know how much of it's their fault, but like no normal tenant would live there, right? Like, because it's cheap rent, that's why they stay there. And you have a special needs child. My friends, this is what we call wholesaling. If you can solve this problem and make everybody happy, it's a win. I don't want someone to suffer from it, though. But the reality is, if you gave them 30 or 60 or even 90 days to find another place to live, I think it's the right thing to do for that family and the child. So I always look at the welfare. A lot of people, like, I meet a lot of wholesalers in my local market. I'm not going to give names, but they have no problem kicking out anybody. Like, they don't care. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. Like, life's too short for this stuff. I am not kicking out little old ladies, special needs, handicapped people. Like, there's just, like, sometimes they have no other place to go. And in Florida, it's really challenging now. So a lot of times you can sell it to the cash buyer. Just make sure you have some sort of agreement with the tenant so you're not the bad guy in the deal.
Okay.
So what else you got?
All right. So I got two more, like talks with sellers. No contracts yet, but I got another half. This one's in the Bethesda area, and the ARV in this area is like over $1 million. And this guy says he cannot sell the property until he gets it assessed. It's a probate as well, but the assessment's already been done by the county. It was done January 1st, 2023, and he's like, I can't sell it. I have to get someone to assess it, and then the county can look at that assessment and see how much they need to be paid for.
Well, it's just, it
Sounds
has to
weird.
be taxed at,
Yeah, but it's already been assessed, right? So he doesn't need.
It's automatic. It's automatic. There's millions of properties. So, how did you come across this lead? Just out of curiosity.
Probate, like they're all out of DC. Like Bethesda's pretty close to DC.
Yeah.
So I guess it was his aunt. So I guess she lived in DC and she had a few properties. This is one of them. This is like the one that they're getting rid of. So Bethesda's like 2 miles out of DC.
Yeah. So the only challenge when you get into like $1 million properties is it becomes it's not your standard probate, and it becomes a much more formalized probate depending on what state it is. And there's all sorts of things you have to like figure out. It's not the easiest road. How is the property? Is it in good shape?
It's in decent shape, and the county assessed it at the whole property. They assessed it at like $670K.
No,
$670K.
I get it. It came on a probate. Like, I always give it a shot. I mean, I tried a $15 million probate one. It got down to the wire. That's the
next question I have for you.
It got down to the wire because they needed a proof of funds to put up. I think they were demanding $5 million cash up front. And like,
wow.
The problem is when you get in the more sophisticated properties, the level of circumventing gets very high. Like, they're like, hey, what's your net worth? How much cash do you have in the bank? You know, and then you have to deal with financial managers before you even get to the lawyers. And that becomes challenging. I'm just going to be like, you really have to be loaded up. So before you spend a lot of energy and time on it, just make sure you can get a good price. Remember, if you can get a good price, you can sell anything. So if I had a Rolex watch, say it's worth 15 grand, and someone gives me 5, I know I can move it. Even if I'm broke, I know I can move that product. So if you get a good price on it, it's fine. If not, don't spend a lot of energy on it, because the reality, guys, wholesaling is you try to stay at the average median price points, although some states $1 million is kind of like close to it. State of Florida has gone bonkers. We're at $500,000 now. It used to be $150. So
yeah, that's typical for this area. That ARV
it's typical. So,
real.
But honestly, make sure you get a really good price, because if you can't fund it and do all this other stuff, because they're going to be very demanding on like proof of funds and deposit requirements.
They're also in New Jersey, so they're pretty motivated. They're not trying to come down here.
It's got to be.
I'll give it a shot.
So the other thing you can do with them too is, you can do a creative financing deal on it too, if that's what but you can't make them do it. You got to see. So if the wholesaling option gets closed, see if there's any type of creative financing. So do they have a mortgage on the property?
No, totally paid off.
Yeah. So you could do like a seller financing deal, and you could probably
sell. Can I pay them monthly, kind of thing?
Yeah. Listen, guys, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to use a bank for everything.
Interesting.
So if you could strike a deal up, what you got to figure out is what would someone pay to either lease or buy that property. You can run a regular amortization. And by the way, you know that little thing called Chat GPT?
Yeah.
You just stick it in there, it'll spit it all out for you. It's unbelievable how fast you can spit. You can do it on a phone call if you can get access.
I saw the episode you guys did on that. That was crazy.
It's like me and Zach run it all the time on all our offers. I'm like, hey, I just tell my acquisition, I go run it, just run a quick amortization schedule. So figure out with today's current rate, if you bought that thing for X amount of price, what it would cost you in monthly payments, and see what what you could take it to market with. And if you
Okay.
can make a difference in it, why not? Like, who cares? Those sometimes when they're not there and they're like, okay, well, I'll keep it going. And then basically they get more money for it. So you could give them the price he asked for you, but they got to give you a deal. And remember, you are not stuck with traditional bank amortization rates. Let me give you an example. I have a deal right now, a very simple deal we recently did, where I offered the guy $35,000 for another mobile home. It's in an area that I know rents really well. So I thought 35 was a little bit of a higher price. It should have been maybe 25 with repairs. I go, I'll give you the 35, but here's the deal. I'm going to give you $350 a month till it's paid off. End of story. So that's 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So I rent it out for $1,000 a month, and who cares if I paid him 40 or 50? Do you think I care? Like, it doesn't matter to me. And so like I didn't do it. He goes, you're going to do a traditional amortization schedule? I go, no, I'm giving you what you want. You got to give me what I want. I go, I'll give you 350 months to go. He goes, that's all I was getting in rent. And then, we fixed it up a little bit, got a renter in there. I'm just like, and I got
sweet. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So it's like, you can do stuff like that because you don't know what people's situation are. Right. So the key distinction when dealing with any type of seller, number one, make sure they're motivated, because otherwise you're in realtor hell. And number two, listen to what they want and use that information, take it in, and then see if you can make it work. It doesn't mean give them exactly what they want. You can give them what they want if you can get what you want, but you can't have it both ways. So price or terms, I get it. The wholesale deal is not going to work it out. What if I could give you $6,500 a month for that property? And you don't even have to get into the details on it. And then if they want to add interest on it, then you can add it. But like, try the framework, because I was going to offer the guy interest and everything else on it because he didn't give a crap. And then guess what? Guess what my strategy is in 2 to 3 years on that property?
What?
I'm going to call him up and say, hey, John,
cash offer.
I got some great news. I came in across some money. I know I owe you about $26,000 left. If I wired you 15 grand, would that work for you? Like, we could wipe this thing out? And he'd be like,
oh, that's awesome.
Now, sometimes they take it, but I will tell you, this strategy I just used right there, it works like half the time. Okay. You can't do it 2 or 3 payments into. You got to let some time go by. You have to establish that you're going to pay them on time, but eventually you can go, hey, listen, you know what? I got this tax refund, and I figured, would you be interested if I could pay you off like right now? I know I still got another 8 years left, but what if I could just give you the money right now? What if I could just give you 15, 20? So even if he comes back and says, I can't do 15, Rick, but I'll take 20. I just got a $6,000 discount. Now, think about that on a bigger number scale. Oh my God. And so you don't have to do it, but like, you do it. Half the time they'll take it, because money today is worth so much more than money tomorrow every time. But you never know what, guys, you think so many times in your head, they're never going to take it. They're never going to take it. They're never going to take it. That's why me and Zach teach you to go for no, because you never know unless you ask. He or she that asks the most usually will get more than the other person. You know, those people just like, I can't do anything. It's crazy. I love cultures that negotiate everything. Like, to me, it's amazing. In the United States, we all just assume everything's okay. That's the price. I'll take it. Could you imagine going to Starbucks and negotiating your cup of coffee? I mean, the damn thing cost them like less than 10 cents to make. Yep. And it's like, oh no, instead of $5, can I give you $4? They'll really look at you like you're like a foreign nation. And I'm just telling you, in real estate, we have that luxury. It's one of the few luxuries that we can do it. So you guys got to utilize that skill. You never know what your seller's going to take. So don't discount it because it's such a big number. But on the wholesale, unless you can get a substantial discount, you can't even attack the wholesaling. And then just go back to them and go, listen, see what it's worth, see what you can get for it, and just say, listen, if I could give you 6,500, or I don't know, maybe it's 10 grand a month. I don't know what it is. I have a deal right now where I did it, where I offered the guy, this is when I was younger, and I've since sold the deal, but I offered him 5,000 a month. I'm like, oh my God, like that's a lot of money. Well, I wound up leasing it out for 9,500 a month. I was like, so what I did is I put it under contract. I gave it 30 days and I marketed the crap out of it. And I had people standing in line for it. And I was going to walk away for maybe over 100 grand. So I'm just telling you, ask. I love like eccentric properties because they're not easy to sell in today's market, so to speak. So look at your options, see what their motivation is, try the wholesale first, and then switch over, and then listen to what they say, and then think about it on paper. Go in a closed room and just use your think cap, because that's how you make money in wholesaling. It's grind and hustle to get the leads. But once you get the leads, that's when you have fun. You're like, okay, can I make this work? Can I do this? I love creative financing. I didn't start out doing creative financing. I had to learn it through wholesaling. But all my creative financing lead comes through wholesaling, because I'm looking for distressed properties, people that need to sell. Because if there's motivation, you can usually strike a deal. If there's no motivation, it's torture to me. I hate it. I hate MLS, and I still use it to buy some personal properties. But it's so archaic how the whole thing works. It's the same crap every time. So anything else?
All right, last one. Sorry to take up all your time.
Okay, let's go.
Actually, I gotta go. I gotta get back to work. My boss is gonna kill me. But all right, this is the big one. I have one more. Same deal. Probate lady. She has three massive properties, three separate properties
Okay.
just outside of DC, and they're currently being used as self-storage facilities. There's one LLC for one of the properties, and then the other two properties are under one LLC. And finances of all these businesses are horrible. They're barely breaking even. They might be losing money. But this lady, I think it was her uncles. She's the sole heir. She's trying to move them quickly, and the county has assessed just the land value at like 5.5 million for all three properties combined. And I don't know what to do with this. She's trying to move it immediately, and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Getting
Well,
information from her.
you're going to have to find the opportunity in it first, because if you can't find the opportunity, you don't want to go through all this work. So, like, I get a lot of people bring to me, hey, this guy or this company owns 30 properties, and they want to move them all in one stroke. It's always challenging because it's like you get a lot of dogs in there, you get a lot of stuff not making you money. And here's how I always test everyone. Like, if somebody comes with you with like 10, 12, 20, 30 properties, just pick one. Give me your most tired and weak one. And if I can't make that work, I'm not going to sit here and like break my head trying to wrap you up in a $5 million offer for 30 properties. So the problem when you get stuff with that much drama, number one, best to have someone that can help you out. But the reality is most of these
That's
people.
why I'm calling you.
I know, but
Wondering if you
there's a
guys
lot of
want that.
information. I can't do it in 5 minutes to just go, hey, here's what you need
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah,
what
I
you
PM'd
need to
Zach
do,
last night. I didn't
if
hear
you're going to
from him
make a
though.
decision about it, you got to get all the facts.
Yeah.
Here's a perfect example. There's someone, I'm sure he's in the comments, that I do lots of business with that I met through wholesaling. He started out, didn't do one deal. Now it's like just a rock star, just crushes it. And I hate the word rock star because it's abused in wholesaling. And he had a deal where the guys just had these two big apartments. Not too big, but it was like the unit. And he goes, Rick, he's 91. He's desperate to sell. And he kind of gave me the number. And I ran it through my calculator. I go, dude, like it's got to be perfect at that price. He gets there. He goes, it's a nightmare. And by the time we were done talking, I go, have all the facts. He said, and here's my favorite, his accounting records are impeccable. Now, when I hear stuff like that, now you've piqued my interest because that means someone's taking care of the book. Dude, the guy sent his accounting records. We waited 2 weeks. When Zach was 4, he could have given me better accounting records in crayon. It was so bad. And when we were said and done, the initial offer, we cut it by 70%. And he's still mulling it over. I don't waste
Holy
time. I go,
crap.
Dan, if I'm buying this big of a problem, there's got to be a huge upside for me.
So that's what I'm saying. She wants cash and she wants to do it immediately, but I have no cash buyers that are like commercial like that.
She's going to have to offer a deal of a lifetime. So she's going to have to open up. So is it what are they properties? Is it vacant land? What is it?
No. There's 3 properties, and each of them have self-storage units on them where people go store their stuff, pay like a monthly rent.
Okay.
No one lives there, but they're like 60-year-old self-storage facilities. They're
How
huge.
big of a facility is it?
Like 14,000 square feet is the small one, and then I can't remember what the biggest one is. But 2 of the 3 are zoned industrial, and 1 of the 3 is zoned residential. So they're saying everything goes, and this is right outside of DC. The land expensive.
Yeah,
They're saying cut down the one that has residential and make like apartments on it. So the
I know,
land,
and
it's like
you're gonna have to get someone locally to help you, like see if it even passes the snuff test. Because if it doesn't pass the snuff test, don't waste your time on it. Like storage is hot right now, though. Like people are buying them like crazy.
Big
but
business.
if she's losing money, like people don't want to lose money when they do storage. Like it's got to make sense. So the real question is like, how is she losing money? Is it bad management? Like what's going on? So what's her total number she wants for everything?
The other thing is she listed it on the market. She wants 4.2 for the large one, 2 for the smallest one, and 2.5 for the middle one. But I mean, no one's given her an offer yet. So if we give her a cash offer, say all 3 for like total of 4 mil, and then someone would buy it for like 5 million, which is for the land, it's less than what it's appraised for just for the land. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. I don't know DC, and that's my challenge. But if you want to private message me, you can send it to support at Flip with Rick and just put your information on there. I'll take a look at it and see if I have any connections.
To what? You said support?
Support at Flip with Rick.
And what's that through? Is that through Facebook?
No, it's just email.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
send that there. Put your name next to it, and I'll take a look at it this evening when I get through my day. See if I have a connection up there that can help you out with it. Because that's the problem.
Flipwithrick.com.
Yeah, support at flipwithrick.com. Okay.
Cool.
Okay,
All right, man. Thanks for your time.